You want to make sure that you're not totally just putting random stuff as your hashtags because you know that they're niche or that they're working. It does have to fit with the photo or with the caption. Something has to be cohesive there.
Hey, my feel good friend. So this week we are talking all about hashtags on Instagram. How to find them, how to choose them, how to use them so that you can do the most to increase your visibility on the platform and grow your genuine following of people who are actually interested in your brand and who want to support you and buy from you. Honestly, hashtags are the SEO of Instagram. If you want to be discovered on the platform and get your content in front of new eyes, hashtags are the way to go. We really should be using them on every single one of our Instagram posts. But I do want to say, if you groaned when I said the word hashtags, if you've always kind of felt like hashtags are confusing or overwhelming or just plain annoying, I'm right there with you, my friend. Hashtags are honestly not one of my favorite topics when it comes to social media. I don't know why. Me and hashtags, we just don't click. So today I brought in the big guns. I'm chatting with Marissa from Haymaker Marketing. She's a fellow social media manager. And I got to tell you, hashtags are her jam. So I'm so excited to share this conversation where Marissa breaks down how we can use hashtags in the best way, how we can find the right hashtags for our content, and how we can really increase our visibility on Instagram. So let's dive into this episode, shall we? Hey friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Have you been struggling to hone in on your brand's vibe on social media? I created a free new guide just for you, my friend. I hear it all the time. My photos aren't flowing together. My graphics look weird. My captions all sound different. I get it, and I'm here to help. With this free worksheet, you'll clarify who your brand is on social media. I'll walk you through the steps to figuring out your brand's story, what your brand sounds like, and what your brand looks like, so you can show up consistently with beautiful posts and build your followers' trust. Whether you've been complaining about your grid not being cohesive or your captions all sounding off, this brand vibe worksheet will help. Just head to feelgoodsocial.com/brand vibe to get this free guide. That's feelgoodsocial.com/BRANDVIBE, and you'll be on your way to branding clarity. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Hi, Marissa. Thank you so much for joining us, honey.
Yes, of course.
All right, so I already introduced you a little bit in the intro, but I'd love to hear it from your mouth, girl. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Marissa Schulze with Haymaker Marketing. And what I do is help small businesses with their social media. I'll manage their whole, the whole thing, Instagram and Facebook, or I'll do consultations, or I just started a new hashtag set if you want hashtags. But yes, that's what we're talking about today.
My God, I'm so excited. Yeah. Marissa and I were chatting a little bit before we started recording, and I was telling her how much I realized that hashtags are necessary and they're a good part of Instagram, but they're just not my thing. So I invited Marissa on here to chat with us, and I'm so excited to start chatting hashtags. Before we get into that, I just kind of would love to know a little bit of your backstory, girl. Tell us the Marissa origin story.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Colorado, and I actually went to school for teaching, elementary ed. And I love teaching, but teaching doesn't have it has a human aspect to it, but it has a lot of politics in it, actually.
Yeah, okay.
I started actually going into more nonprofit work and helping out there, volunteering. And the thing that nobody wants to do in the nonprofit world is run social media. Yeah.
Yes.
So they'd always be like, you want to volunteer? Sure. You can have Instagram. You can have Facebook. And so that's really how I got started in social media, is I just started doing it for nonprofits. And then I started getting good. And then I thought I could do this as a job. And I like social media because you can do it from your house, right? You know this. And I'm an Enneagram 5. So I like to research. That's what I love. And so since social media is always changing, I love that element of it. There's something always new. There's new code. So now like the algorithm's totally different.
Yeah.
How are people going to like react to these changes? I love that stuff. I love it. So that's how I got started. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. And I love that you brought up the Enneagram, because for anyone listening who listened to the Enneagram episode, my interview with Harmony Brown, actually, Marissa knows Harmony, which is awesome. And I think in that Enneagram episode, we talked about the 5s doing like hashtag research or something, which just makes so much sense because I'm a 7 and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about hashtags, but today you're going to school me, girl. So I'm so excited. Okay, let's jump into it. Can you tell us what hashtags are and why they're so important to Instagram?
Hashtags. The pound symbol, basically.
Yeah.
No, really. Hashtags are like, I think they're important for 2 reasons, and they're most important on Instagram. One of the reasons is it's kind of like your address. You know?
Okay, yeah.
They're kind of like your address. So if you're a massage therapist, you're putting things like massage therapy in Denver, Colorado, massage therapy in Aspen. It's a way that if people are searching for you, they can find you. And that is why they're so important. People are literally using Instagram like Google to search for people. And so they're kind of like your keywords in some ways so that people can find you. That's the first reason they're important. And then the other reason, and this is where the niche hashtags come in, is they are like the cool kid lingo that you need to know to get into a group.
Oh, man. Yes, I love that. You are taking this explanation completely differently than I thought you were going to, and I love it. The cool kid. Like, maybe that's why I hate hashtags sometimes, because I feel like I don't know the freaking cool kid lingo.
Yes.
Okay, I'm excited to become cool today, Marissa.
Yeah,
Thanks for helping us.
Cool. It literally is, because that's how niche hashtags, I think, are created. They're either created by like big businesses, like Darling Magazine. There's a hashtag, it's Darling, or Darling Escapes. They start them to generate some sort of publicity, but people just attach onto them and is like, I want to see a vacation that a person from Darling Magazine would go on. So I'll do these hashtags. Or sometimes they're just a group of people that like a certain thing. And so they have this club of hashtag lingo. So that's why they're important, because you need it for location. You just need it if you're a brick and mortar, if it's really basic. But if you're selling something a little bit more developed, you need niche hashtags, because people aren't going to be searching for like hashtag Insta photo. I mean, they're not going to be searching for that, but they might search something that they already like. They might look through those hashtags. If they know these are my people, like we're already cool, we already understand each other, that's where niche hashtags come in. So that's why they're important. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, for sure. I love it that you brought it to the whole Google thing, because I don't know, it's just so interesting. I don't think a lot of people realize how little Instagram is discoverable, I guess, you know what I mean? Like when you're creating blog posts, like your entire blog could be keyword heavy or SEO oriented kind of thing, because the entire thing is read by Google and could show up in search. But when it comes to Instagram, there's very little of the platform that actually shows up in a search. And so yeah, hashtags are so important for that. And I love it that you brought it there to the location tags as well, because I feel like a lot of people forget those locations are such a great way to kind of like really target your content, I guess, you know what I mean? Especially for like brick and mortar businesses, which I know you work with a lot.
Yep, absolutely. They're important. I mean, when I'm in a new city, I want to find the best coffee shop, and I'm not looking on Google and I'm not looking on TripAdvisor. I am looking on Instagram, because if on their, within 2 seconds of their feed, I can look and find, okay, they have the kind of coffee I like and I like how it looks. Done.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
There are things that we search on Instagram more.
Can you give us just a little overview of maybe like how we should use hashtags on Instagram, like the best practices and all that stuff for people who don't really know how to use them?
Okay. Yeah. First steps. Okay. If you're like, I don't know how to do hashtags, what do I do? Where do I go? The first step is just to get the basic ones. So if you are a brick and mortar company, you just need to start with basic ones. So say your business and then your city, and then say your business and the surrounding city. Say your business and then, everything around there. Those are important. The next thing you should do is find a hashtag generator. These are all over Google. So if you just look them up, they're all free. They're going to give you just like the very basics of hashtags. They're not going to be niche hashtags. They're just going to be really basic, but it's a great place to start. They'll give you things like, I do social media for a motorcycle gear company. So I don't know anything about motorcycles or gear.
Yeah.
I have to learn. So I started with a hashtag generator, and it's going to give me things like every one of, Harley Davidson and Indian and, Go Moto, all those things that I have no idea, but they're not niche hashtags. We're not going to find the diehard bikers in those hashtags. They're just more widespread, and they're actually going to be bigger. Millions of people will be tagging them. So that's the first place to start. If you're like, I have no idea what to do, where to go to a hashtag generator.
Yeah. That's been my go-to. Just because for some reason I feel like they take up a lot of time for me personally. And I'm wondering, how much time do you think we should spend on like finding our hashtags and creating the perfect hashtag set? Because I think a lot of people get really hung up on that.
Totally. Social media is like an endless portal that can suck you in. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
We know.
We know that.
I find I don't do the hashtag generator anymore because I've already done them, but I will every month with my clients, I will find 30 new hashtags. So I just do it per month, because if you do it per post, you're going to get tired of it and you hate it by the end.
Yeah.
So I will just do one set of 30 per month, and it takes me about 45 minutes to find them. So it does take a long time, but I will try to generalize them so that I can use them again, So if I'm in like this motorcycling company, I'm going to find ones that all the bikers, like their lingo, like ride or die, Ronald Society, live free or die, those are all motorcycling cliches.
Yeah.
But I can use them over and over. And then you can look on Instagram, you can look on your analytics to see if they're working. So my practice is just to do it every month. Once a month, I'm going to get a new one for each one of my accounts. And also they will change or get less popular or more popular. And so they're not that viable anymore. So I'd say once a month, which is doable.
For sure. Yeah, I'm glad that you're saying the once a month, that you're giving me permission right now and you're making hashtags more approachable to me right now, which is nice because I love your approach to social media because I feel like it's very similar to mine and it's very different in some ways of how a lot of people on the internet are squawking about it. You know what I mean? Like we are both very much about like do the best with what you can, but don't put so much pressure on you that it's like taking over your life. Or I think on the Harmony episode about the Enneagram as well, we were talking about how like, yeah, we can spend so much time researching, but by the time we're researching, maybe it's updated and it's out of date or something has happened, you know what I mean? And so I love the whole monthly outlook. That's doable for me.
Yes.
That sounds really nice.
And if you are looking at your analytics on Instagram, which every Instagram grid post, if you're a business or a creator account, will have analytics. So you just click on it. I think it says view insights, and it will show you how your hashtags are performing. So if you're busy one month and you can use your most powerful hashtags. Like I have some that I know will work. Now, I can't use them over and over because Instagram will flag us if we use the same hashtags over and over. But I know this is like my powerful punch hashtags. So when I want to get something really out there, I already have this chunk that I've saved that's been working for the last few months. So I am with you. Let's not waste time. We've got a life.
Yeah, for sure. Can you talk a little bit more about the flagging of hashtags or flagging of an account, that sort of stuff, just for the people who don't know what you're talking about necessarily?
Instagram's always looking for spam, right? So if you are spamming people with hashtags, meaning you're a motorcycle company and you are putting motorcycle pictures in like a mom hashtag.
Yeah.
People who are looking at that hashtag will say, hey, they can report you and say this picture doesn't go with this hashtag. And if that happens enough, Instagram will kind of give you like a sad face. And it won't like you as much, basically. They won't think that you're a real creator, or they'll think you're spam or a robot. So you want to make sure that you're not totally just putting random stuff as your hashtags because you know that they're niche or that they're working. It does have to fit with the photo or with the caption. Something has to be cohesive there. And if you are using the same set of 30 hashtags over and over and over, Instagram will also think you're a robot. And so they will think you're spam. So I keep building them every month. So I have a lot. But I think you need to have at least 3 chunks of 30 to start with so that and to just alternate using them and don't make it methodical. Don't look like a robot. Look like a human. Yes. So Instagram doesn't penalize you. They're not going to hate you, but you won't be favored, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not like it's personal. It's like Instagram's algorithm has been updated recently to like try to make the platform less robot driven, not be taken over by robots. It's so funny. I think when we humans act like robots, it's like, no, you can't do that. You have to switch things up. You have to be human. You have to make a mistake. Oh, this is kind of taking me on maybe a sidetrack question here. How do you feel about maybe intentionally using hashtags that are misspelled?
Yeah. Totally.
What do you tell us about that? What are your thoughts?
People do it all the time. Well, they do it in SEO all the time. People misspell words on purpose. I say, why not?
Yeah.
Because what if they're searching for hairstylist in Colorado Springs and you misspell it and you're the only one, on that hashtag? Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well.
For sure. Yeah. We have to remember that we're all human, you know what I mean? And we all make the same mistakes. And so it's okay if you make a mistake. This is so funny, and it has like a little bit less to do with SEO, hashtags, all that stuff, and a little bit more just to do with like the human side of marketing. But I was listening to the Screw to the 9 to 5 podcast a month or 2 ago, probably. It was like a while ago. But they were interviewing this guy who does like the Facebook chat marketing, and they were setting up their automated chat messages for Facebook, and they were intentionally spelling some words wrong in the back and forth messages, because when people are on Facebook just typing back and forth to each other, it's not like I'm not going to capitalize I'm not going to capitalize all my I's. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And they were doing it intentionally to make the chat bot just feel more human and more approachable, maybe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The host was like, it's taking all of my energy right now not to fix this. Like, I don't want to like set up this automation with misspelled words or like uncapitalized letters and all that stuff. But the man who was like advising her was just like, we just got to do it. We just got to try it. Or like we can set up test ones and see which gets more responses and all that stuff. But he's like, in my years of working with people and looking at the analytics, misspelling things or leaving things uncapitalized works. And I do that with my captions. Like, I can't bring myself to intentionally misspell something, but if I do, I just leave it. You know what I mean? Instead of like editing.
Because it makes you human.
It's hard, but I leave it.
Now I want to do a set of 30 of all misspelled. I want to do it. See if it works.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to hashtags. So what are like some of the best ways we can use hashtags on our accounts? So, like, where should we be putting them, and what are some best practices for that?
Cool. Well, you should be putting them on your posts. You can do 30 on your post.
Love it.
So I would do 30 each time, because why wouldn't you? You can put them on your Instagram stories. That has worked for me, but it hasn't worked as powerfully as putting your location on there. Have you had hashtags work for your stories, Kinsey?
Okay, so for those of you listening who don't really know a lot about putting hashtags into stories and stuff, you can put up to 10, I think, in a story, right? And you can type them out, or there's a story sticker that you can insert them. And then when you go into your story, you can see, because every hashtag, I think, for store, like, has its own story, right? Have you seen that? And so if you go into your analytics, you can see like, oh, did my story pop up on this hashtag story? And so that's how it could work really well. But I feel like if that ever happens, I haven't like hit the gold with a hashtag on a story for sure. Like it's just been a few viewers here, a few there, and no one's really like traveling to my account for that. Maybe just because when people are viewing stories, it's kind of like a different experience than if they're viewing your posts, right? Because it's just kind of like a very quick snapshot sort of thing. And so if like one of your stories would show up in a hashtag's story, maybe it's just like one quick snapshot. You better hope that it grabs someone's attention or else it'll just be by in a second.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
So I devote most of my time on hashtags to the actual grid posts because they last longer. It's exactly what you're saying. And I wouldn't spend a whole bunch of time trying to figure out the best hashtags for your Instagram story. It's nice because you can hide your hashtags on Instagram stories. You can put them behind like graphics or whatever, but I wouldn't spend hours wondering where they are. I would really focus just on the posts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like, so I just created a hashtag. It's so funny because you know my feelings on hashtags. They're great, but they annoy me. So I just created this hashtag guide for my social map course. And so I was like doing all this hashtag research and they were talking about ways to hide your hashtags on your Instagram story. They said the sticker thing, which I love. If you type out the hashtags and then you can just like slap a sticker on top of them, they still work. But they said that if you squeeze them down really tiny, if you make them really, really small, they don't work anymore.
No way.
Yeah, which that was something new for me too, because also I used to like to kind of like swoop them off to the side of the thing, you know what I mean? Just like, I don't know, I felt like it was take a running start with my finger and drag it and like throw it off to the side. And I'm not sure if that would work either. So I guess like it was Later's article that I was looking at. And so if the two that they suggested were these are such like nerdy tricks. I love it. I love it that I'm nerding out with you about social media right now. But they said to make the text color the same as the background or to hide it under a sticker. But yeah, that was something that popped out to me that you can't squish them down and make them small anymore because I definitely used to do that all the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is why social media, it's ever changing.
Seriously, I know, like, you just have to keep up with it. And yeah, especially, like, their newer features. Like, I feel pretty confident with us talking about, like, the posts and stuff like that. But stories, IGTV, like, all of it is changing so much all the time. You really have to stay on top of things.
Yep.
Are we getting off on another tangent? Sorry, Eddie.
Sorry, everyone.
Oh, yeah. I know. We're
having fun.
Nerding out so hard. I know, exactly. Oh, man. Okay, so 30 hashtags in your post and on your stories, 10. But yeah, again, I agree with you. If you don't have time, just like put it out there. Just do the one location tag. That works better. And then don't worry about the hashtags on your story necessarily. So throw us some awesome tips for researching hashtags. I need to get my notebook out right now because you are like the hashtag research queen, girl. And I'm over here like trying to generate it up. So let me know what to do.
Yes, of course. Yeah, here's how you find niche hashtags. Those are the most powerful. Those are the ones that are going to get you from having like 10 views to 100 views. Okay. And that's because they are just like more searched for and they're the cool kid language. The cool kid language. And so they're actually not too searched. They're not used too much. They're not used too little. So they're somewhere in the middle, and something about that middle is like powerful. Okay. That's where they're powerful. So yep, it's the cool kid language. It's basically like a whole bunch of clubs on Instagram.
Okay, cool.
So here how you find them is you look for the clubs. So for example, moms are a big deal on Instagram right now. There's a lot of clubs for moms. So if I have someone who is in the mom, fitness world or mom, there's a lot of mom ones, I will find someone who is doing it better than my client. So I will find influencers. I will find micro influencers even. That means that they're less than like 10,000. Okay. And I will look for what hashtags they're using. Okay. That's the first place to start. And if you don't know how to find influencers, I usually find them by location. So I'll search a location. I'm in Fort Collins, so I'll look in Fort Collins. And then when you search a location, the most popular post is going to be first. That means the one that has been seen the most, the one that has the most likes. And those are usually the influencers. Okay. So that's a way that you can find influencers. I think we see influencers everywhere. So you're probably following one if you're a mom and you're doing a mom blog. So look for those influencers, and then you look for the hashtags that they're using. Most influencers now put their hashtags in the comments. Okay. They're usually not in the post. So you're just going to have to press that like load more button over and over if they're really popular, and you'll see the hashtags that they're using. And so then I just look at the ones that apply to me, like mom boss, got it. Motherhood unplugged. That sounds like something that's mom related. I'll just go from there. And then I'll just go to every influencer that I can. And I'll look at different posts. They usually use about 5 sets. So once I've found the 5 sets of them and I've gone through the ones that relate to me and the ones that don't, I'll go on to another influencer and try to find all of hers. That's my favorite way. Have you ever done that, Kinsey?
Yes, I have. Yes. And then I like get distracted by something shiny, or I get too bored or something, and I'll just like and then I'll go to your account and I'll just copy and paste your hashtags usually. but yeah, no, I do love looking at influencers, and I do agree. Like it's so funny to me. Like we're social media managers, right? And we really love like the strategic strategy of marketing on social media and all of those things. But then there's something to be said about influencers. To me, influencers have more of like a passion for Instagram, like as a platform or as like a community almost. Or do you know what I'm trying to say? To me, it feels like we are more like analytical, and the influencers are wanting to be on there knowing the cool kid language. And so I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I think that they're the ones who are just always like looking for those hashtags and realizing what that language is that people
They're the ones
use.
Creating the hashtags. Yeah.
So when you go to the influencers' accounts and you look at their sets of hashtags, how do you pick and choose which hashtags you want to use out of their sets that they have?
I'll click on the hashtag and look what it's about, because some are very strange. And so you're like, I thought this was about moms. No, it's about chocolate.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll click on the account and you'll see all the photos that are with that hashtag. And for the most part, they're going to show the theme of the hashtag. So if they go with the account, if they have the same theme, I'll use them and I'll put them in. I'm not like micromanaging the hashtags. I'm like, well, this one has a little bit more of a like white minimalism theme, and my themes are a little bit less. If I can,
I love it.
If I could debate Instagram on why I chose this hashtag for this post, I do it. I'm like, okay, it's close enough. And sometimes you even want hashtags that are a little bit outside your demographic so that you can pull in new people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Could you talk to us a little bit about like the number of uses? Like what's a good range, I guess, for how many times the hashtag's been used and all that stuff that we should be using for ourselves?
Once it hits 1 million, you shouldn't use it anymore. Unless you're needing just the base. Sometimes if you're just doing the basics, it's fine. One hashtag that has 1 million is better than nothing, for sure. But in the thousands, you need to think thousands or less, okay? And more than the hundreds, okay? So thousands is like the sweet spot where people are actually looking.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love that.
Million is too much.
Yeah, because if when you use a hashtag on your posts, it like could pop up in that hashtag's feed and the people who are following that hashtag could see it. But if so many people are using it, then you'll probably get lost under the 500 other people that just posted at the same time you did with that hashtag, right? Is that how it's working
hashtags
out?
are
Okay,
ranked,
perfect.
just kind of like your feed is a little bit ranked. So the person with the most engagement is going to be the first picture on the hashtag list. Okay. So if you're a little baby marketer or you're a little baby business, you maybe will get 30 likes on your picture, which is pretty good for a baby business, but you won't show up first. So you want to be somewhere in that range of hashtags. So it's not, you have less competition, not a million people, not 50 people, but somewhere in the middle. So people are looking at it, but you're not like page 50 of this hashtag or 50 swipes.
Right. Yeah. People aren't swiping that much.
No.
Can you tell us a little bit about how to, I don't know, whenever I give advice about hashtags, I always say to try to choose those hashtags that are super specific to your ideal client, right? Like how can we find those hashtags that our ideal clients are using? Have you had an experience with using hashtags that are kind of similar to your niche, but maybe not exactly about your business?
No,
Is my question making sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm running an account right now for a lady who does Beachbody, and she is a mom. And so she's advocating for women in business and all of that. But what she is, that's something special on Instagram, is her husband is a firefighter. Okay. So some of her hashtags are firefighter wife, which apparently is like a niche hashtag. Who knew? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's probably getting the same demographic that she wants. Moms, parents, women generally at home watching their kids. Okay. Maybe not, but it's a different demographic, and it has a connection point because she's a fireman's wife, and then somehow they're together. When I've been running her engagement, I just go on that hashtag and I start commenting and making friends with all those people because I know they already have something that's connected to them. So that's a way you can do it. You can just try to get people in by like another random thing about you that people could connect to. I mean, that's why people in their bios, they always put, I do it too, where it's like, here's what I do. And then here's some things that I like. Star Wars. Because I know there's millions of people in the world that like Star Wars. So I might as well connect with them on there. Okay. So you could if you just put like somehow in your caption, a Star Wars reference, put a Star Wars, hashtag in there. Does this kind of make sense? I feel like I'm going everywhere.
Yeah, no, I love it. And oh my goodness, I feel like I had like 2 or 3 questions in the middle of that, but then also I got distracted by the shiny object of Star Wars right now because I'm a Star Wars fan too, and I love it that you are. I don't know if I knew that you were a Star Wars fan yet. Ugh. Every time we talk, I'm like, yes, Marissa's my lady. I have a Death Star tattooed behind my ear. It was a slightly drunken decision, but I love it. But it's so nerdy. Like everyone, they're like, wait, is that a Death Star? I was like,
yeah,
hell yeah, it is.
Cool. So there.
Yeah, we're so cool. Okay, so back to the hashtags. So I want to ask you a question about hashtags in our bios as well. But first, I love what you said about when you're doing the hashtag research, that you go and you comment on the photos and posts that you're seeing and all of that stuff. Tell us a little bit about that, because I do recommend people multitask. I call it like multitasking on Instagram, where it's like, okay, you're doing hashtag research, might as well throw some engagement in with it. So what's your process for that?
Absolutely. Well, obviously it depends on my clients, but yeah, like and comment on their stuff. It is social media, so it's social. Hello. So there is an element of multitasking. So I'll usually comment, or I really like to comment on people's stories. That's my favorite, because you're seeing right then what they're doing, and you're commenting. So I'll grab hashtags from them, and then I like to follow as many people as I can. I know there's that rule of like, shouldn't have that many followers than your own, but come on, we're being social.
Yeah,
absolutely. Follow and comment as you go. I mean, you're going to learn if it's a really great influencer, you're going to learn more stuff from them. So go ahead and follow them. If they have great hashtags, if they're in your field. Yeah, I just follow away.
Yeah, let's pause right here real quick and talk about this this idea, because I feel strongly about this as well. People being stingy with their follows and their likes. And I know from another social media manager perspective, you're with me on this, because maybe a few years ago, Instagram was supposed to be more this gallery, this cool kids club where like the likes mattered and you needed to always have more followers than you were following and all that stuff. But I think that things are changing, and Instagram is supposed to be social. And then from a marketing perspective, the best way you can use social media is to interact and engage and build relationships. And you can't do that if you're being stingy with your likes and comments and follows. Like, no, the way to do that, the way to build an audience is to give, right? Like, ugh.
Yes. And be real in the giving. Yes. And kind of throw off this like feeling that we have to look better than we are. There obviously is like an element of something looking beautiful on Instagram, but there's also an element of humanity, right? The misspelled words.
The misspelled word. Don't be a robot. Oh man.
Absolutely.
No, I love it. I love it because I love the way the platform is headed, because I do think that it used to be about the likes and it used to be about the cool factor and all that stuff. But from a marketing perspective, from an algorithm perspective, from a being a kind human perspective, it's like all just about building these genuine relationships. And I love that Instagram is on board. Like, I love that they're changing the algorithm for that, to kind of promote that more so. Ugh.
Yep.
It just makes me feel better.
Yes. When you're thinking hashtags, sometimes while you're researching, it is tedious, but you could be thinking, this could be my next friend, right? This could be my next friend because they like the same stuff I like because of this hashtag, Let's be friends.
Yeah. You don't have to be scared to engage or anything like that. And then also, it's like, I like to teach my students this thing called targeted outreach. So it could be turned into hashtag research. We can incorporate that. Maybe I'll start adding that into the mix too. But it's like going out and like finding your people and interacting with your people. And it's about looking at hashtags that they might be following and going into accounts and being like, is this an ideal client of mine? And if it is, then give them a follow, leave a comment, start to build that genuine relationship. But I always tell people too, like, even if it's not necessarily your ideal client, still like that photo, leave that comment. If you leave a comment, someone who's following them might see your comment and be interested and come to you. Like, the more visible you can make yourself on the platform, the better.
Yes.
I think.
Absolutely. Yes. You're great at that, Kinsey.
Oh man, girl. I try to put actually time into my schedule to like do that, or else I won't. Right. But it's still time consuming, but it's so worth it. It's the best way to grow an authentic following for sure. If you had to give like one piece of advice for the people who are wanting to use hashtags, what are like the next steps that they should be taking right now?
Do location hashtags. That's where I'd start. Location hashtags. Just start, even if you just start putting your city. You don't say what you're doing or what your product is, just start doing your location. That is the first step, because that doesn't even require any research. Put all the cities around you, put the like, not necessarily counties, but if you have like a lingo word for where you live, do that. That's where I would start. And then from there, go on to the generators online and then start stealing hashtags from other people.
I love that you're promoting my behind the scenes like little sneaky habit. I love it.
But that's essentially what I am doing when I go to influencers. I'm stealing all their hashtags.
So too. I mean, it's not really stealing, it's collaborating.
Collaborating.
Oh man, that is such a great tip though for the location hashtags. I feel like they're super underutilized, but they're underutilized by people, but they're followed by a lot of people and by very specific people, right? And so even if you're not some like brick and mortar business, that's still something that you could utilize. Think about, where are my ideal clients mostly located or where could they be located, potential ideal clients, and then start using those hashtags for like different cities, maybe different like even coffee shops or like specific locations or something like that. That is one of the best ways to target people for sure. I love that. Oh man. Okay. Marissa, tell my people where they can find you and connect with you, because I know that they're going to want to do that.
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Haymaker Marketing and on Facebook in the same place. And then my website is haymakersocial.com. So love to see you there. Let's be friends.
I love it. Oh man. Thank you so much for coming on here, girl. I super appreciate it.
Yes, of course.
Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.